Episode 258 of Global from Asia. A little bit of update on the Amazon venture. Let's do this.
Welcome to the Global from Asia podcast, where the daunting process of running an international business is broken down into straight-up, actionable advice. And now, your host, Michael Michelini.
Thank you, everybody, for choosing to download or stream or however you get this magical audio content. I'm Mike Michelini, and we're at episode 258. It's pretty funny. It's a little bit the opposite. I'm doing the intro after I get back to Thailand. It was an intense week and a half in mainland China and Hong Kong, and today's show, the interview is on the bus. Usually I do the intro, but I'm testing things out. Plus, it was a great chance to catch up with Zack Franklin from AMZ Kung Fu. He's been on the show a couple of times. He's helped us out quite a bit. He gave me some tips over dinner while we were in a Malaysian restaurant in Hong Kong, and then we shared the bus ride together back to Huanggang border in Shenzhen. And I thought, hey, why not whip out the gear? Got some expensive gear and make a recording. So we did this just to kind of update people about what's happening with Sisatano, the Amazon brand we've been building for almost 2 years now, at least since the kickoff was last July 2017. And Zach's been in the background helping us out once in a while with some questions, and he's been following along. And, you know, I just kind of update you guys and have Zach there to help give me some input and feedback. And as always, he's giving his knowledge freely and helping out. So I think you'll learn some ideas a little bit more heavy on the manufacturing and product side. We'll talk about some packaging and other ideas. So we will just jump right into that. And then I'll do the blah, blah, blah in a quiet setting here in my studio in Thailand, home studio. All right, let's tune in. Are you looking for content creation services for your business? Impressed with Global from Asia and our ability to create content regularly, we've put together our team to help you make blogs, audio podcasts, video production, Amazon listings, and more. www.contentinvestments.com and tap into this amazing content creation team for your business, whether it's your e-commerce, Amazon, or whether it's your agency or other services. Content is critical and totally needed for today's competitive online marketing world. We would love to talk to you, see different packages and different price ranges for all different budgets. Check us out, and it will also support this show as an official partner. Thank you so much for your support, and this is Mike Michelini, and we have a great team there. I'd love to work with some of you at www.contentinvestments.com. All right, thank you, everybody, tuning in to another Global from Asia podcast. You know, I just saw Lorenzo and Lucien and some other amazing people here in Hong Kong, and you know, I know Lorenzo liked it when I did some content on the bus, so we have a repeat guest, Zack Franklin. So is it AMZ Kung Fu now, or is it Panda Leap?
Yeah, it's still AMZ Kung Fu. Panda Leap is kind of a brand under that. If you guys are selling in Europe, check it out.
Yeah, definitely. So he helps like launch services for European sellers on Amazon. And unfortunately, I need your service, but I'm still a U.S. seller.
We're working on the U.S. version, so just be patient.
Okay, great. So we're, just to give people a little bit of a background, we're on a bus, CTS, China Travel Services, from Prince Edward to Huanggang border into Shenzhen, China. We both had some intense meetings in Hong Kong and happened to be here at the same time and had some amazing Malaysian food.
It's so good.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for taking me there and treated too, so I really appreciate it. And what was those noodle things I had?
You had Laksa.
Laksa. So he thinks I'm crazy. I don't know if listeners ever had Laksa, but I think that was the first time. Maybe I've had it before.
Every time I talk to you, you're like, I'm in Kuala Lumpur, I'm in Malaysia, I'm in this. How could you not have their most famous food?
Don't know. Somehow I didn't have it, or maybe I ate it, but I didn't realize it. But it was pretty awesome. So, thanks for
glad you enjoyed it.
Putting a word to what I've probably eaten before. But So today is a much well overdue update on Sisatano and our case study. Well, we're gonna have another guest, a WeChat caller next to us. Damn, just a little more background. I think Zach, if you can send me that photo, we'll put it in the show notes. But I was trying to get away with having an empty seat to put my bag, but this dude next just stood there and just waited until I moved the bag so he could sit down.
Yeah, we are doing this super live. Mike has all of his microphone equipment like on his lap. His camera's like balanced there. He's got his headphones on. We're surrounded by like 40 Hong Kongers in a thunderstorm on the way back to China. So it doesn't get more real than this.
This is truly global from Asia, right? I mean, seriously, this is the dream, man.
And this is all totally improvised.
This is what I think people. This is what I don't know. I think listeners hopefully like it. I mean, we got some pretty expensive gear. I mean, on my lap it's about $1,000 and stuff, like a Zoom H6, and we got ATR 2100s, and we got a what's it called? Some kind of Canon Rebel 5i set thingy. But I mean, this is what I think. I think this is cool. Like. And I hope people can get some benefit. But Zach gave me some PPC tips also at the Malaysian restaurant. Should have recorded that for the show. Zach's always been behind the scenes, so I'll be honest, it's been a little bit quiet on Sisatano, at least for the Global from Asia listeners, for the last 6 months. So today's show is not really an interview. It's more like an update, and I know Zach's not prepared. So I'm back in China. Well, heading back. I literally flew back from Hangzhou. So I was in Yiwu for about 5 days, and I showed Zach some of the samples. We got about 5 new listings we're going to be working on. Lots of work, and a couple new listings. Of course, our main Moka Pot. And Lorenzo's going to help with some advertising. He's the ClickFunnels guy now. It's like a walking advertisement for ClickFunnels.
I think everyone that does ClickFunnels is a walking advertisement for ClickFunnels. Even give you a shirt when you sign up.
Nice. So I didn't see his shirt, but we're gonna try that. Like he's saying, take some of your advertising budget off of Amazon and try some Facebook ads and some other things. But I know you're the expert in Panel Leap as with Europe, but I guess I'm a little bit nervous. We gotta like last week's show we had Eno, and I was in the factories and we were at the warehouse. So we got like a couple of one carton of 4 different new coffee accessories for the Sisatano brand. And you gave some tips on the packaging. It's true, they're just white boxes. So you had some insights on packaging.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a designer, but I've seen the impact that we have on our products when we do take the time and effort just to do some upgraded packaging, because no one really takes the time and effort. If it's maybe just a product less than $30, no one is really putting a lot of effort into the packaging. But the main, everyone knows that images are one of the most important things on your Amazon listing. In your packaging, you can show it in your listing. I always advise people to look at categories that are much more competitive than their own.
Okay.
Because by looking at the fast-moving spaces on Amazon, you can take the tricks from there and apply it to your own category. So, for example, looking at supplements, you notice that some of the biggest brands there, for example, BioSchwartz, what they did is they ended up using their packaging in the image, and what they were able to do with that was have a very distinctive image, increase their CTR, and dominate the category. Now they're consistently top 30. On one of our packages, we did some really, really crazy 3D printing.
Okay.
Or like 3D die cut stuff on cardboard. And you'll know if you search essential oils, you'll see exactly the listing I'm talking about, because we have 2 spots in the top 5 if you just search essential oils.
Wow.
And about 15% of the reviews mention that design as the reason they chose this product.
Wow.
And so we all think, people care about the product, they're just going to throw away the packaging. But that experience with the packaging is really not something to overlook. Because, for example, if you're doing a white cardboard box or just a cardboard box, one thing you see all the vape brands doing and a lot of other brands is they're able to make a little sleeve that looks really nice, and it's super cheap. It's a couple RMB, and you can just slide this over this white cardboard box, and immediately you have a better image for Amazon. You're going to get more people. You have a product that people are much more excited to unbox. You put a little emotion into it. So I would say if you guys are just doing a white box, or if you're doing a cardboard box, there are a lot of efficient ways that you can make it look more exciting without having to overhaul your entire process and spending a lot more money on premium material on a product you just want to test.
Makes sense. I mean, I think we do a pretty good packaging with the Moka Pot. I mean, people can look at the listing. It's a cardboard, it's a cardboard box, but it has our branding. It's brown. And we put it in the listing, like you said, so it sticks out to the eye when people are scrolling. And it's a darker image where everybody else has just the stainless steel. You also have some brown and dark colors. I think, attracting the eye and separating yourself from the competitors.
Yeah, you guys are starting to rank pretty well. Every once in a while, I'll search Moka Pot.
Thank you.
And I'll be like, okay, I see these guys on page 1 all the time now. So
are you clicking through and adding to carts?
Yes, I am actually. And I might do it from a couple other computers. So I'm helping you out, Mike.
Thank you.
I think if you look at my Amazon cart right now, it's like 5 Sisitano
there you go.
Moka Pots add to cart.
Get you some coupon codes. But I think I mentioned it maybe last week's show, but I want to talk about it again. And I can definitely think it's connected to the velocity or the ranking or the sales. But, another thing I've been kind of quiet about Sisitano is it's kind of been a bit hard. So we had a recall. We had to pull the products out of Amazon. Well, we didn't have to, but I made the hard decision to pull it out. Basically, we had 3 times delisted, or Amazon took it offline to say we had over 7% refund rate or return rate, and they gave us the reasons, and we had to review the reasons. And I think the first 2 times we just hit relist. He said, okay, acknowledge, relist. But the 3rd time I was like, man, we got to do something. So we pulled out almost all of them to a third-party warehouse, and then the handles were broken. So somehow in shipment, I don't know, by air or by sea, we sent it by both. But we went through this painful process, and I think last week's show I talked about it. If not, I can talk about it later. But basically, when we sent it back, the refunds have, of course, dropped because there's no more broken handles. And the sales have definitely picked up. And I don't think much has changed besides fixing the quality. So I think obviously Amazon sees your sales, sees your returned rate. So by having obviously a product that's not just sells but also doesn't get refunded, will be ranking. So I'm feeling a little bit more confident. Or, obviously we're not making huge money with this product yet. People can see the BSR and everything, but it's about doubled in the last couple weeks from our previous couple months of sales history. So it's just. Again, like Mayer and others have said, we're trying to build a long-term brand. It's tempting to just keep trying to sell out what you get and not take that short-term hit, but really lose money short-term for the long-term. I think we would have destroyed the listing with reviews. There was already getting some pretty angry customers. One customer got a broken handle twice, so she was really mad. But I don't know if you have any feedback on that, Zach. But of course, obviously it sounds obvious, but so many sellers just focus on marketing, but you got to focus on your product.
Yeah, if you can't do marketing really if the product just isn't there. If the product has its issues, it doesn't matter what else you do. That's why everyone is going to tell you, oh, do Facebook ads, oh, do this, but they're missing a lot of the root causes of success on Amazon, which even as a marketer guy, I want to say it comes down to your product, it comes down to your margins, it comes down to your quality control, and you did the right thing pulling it out. But I do see, because I see a lot of accounts in every state, some that are absolute monstrously huge accounts and some that are getting in trouble all the time. But there are a lot of reasons why you might need to pull out your inventory and realize when this happens, you have to pay Amazon to take out the inventory.
Nightmare.
You need to pay a 3PL to receive your inventory and change whatever happened. Then you need to pay to send it back in.
Nightmare.
And so this can be, if you're on razor thin margins, this can be the difference between a profit and a loss. And this can really be something that's preventable in the first place. For example, for Europe, I see a lot of people that don't have their importer designated EU representative and stuff like this on the packaging, and then they get caught and they're like, oh, what? Me? I wasn't doing anything wrong. Why do I have to do this? And it's like, if you would have just ordered 5 of your competitor products, take a look at what's on the boxes so you're compliant, and then you send it in, you're going to have a much better shot.
Yeah.
And I recommend buying the big brands because they have the money to invest in compliance. A lot of smaller brands don't. But sometimes that quality stuff just happens. I had a case once in the supplements that I was selling. A whole shipment went out, like a whole pallet or something went out without labels.
Oh.
So they were just getting this blank white tube of green powder, and they're like, what the fuck is this? And I got about 40 bad reviews, 20 to 40 bad reviews before we just closed the listing, and had to do the same thing. You know, we had to pull it out, we had to relabel it, we had to send it in, and the listing wasn't really the same after that. So do what you can to prevent these problems, and realize whether you're in it for cash flow or whether you're in it for more of a long-term approach. Consciously make the decision before you have your business what you want to do with it, so you know what to do when these things happen. And then another quote, because I was reading 4-Hour Work Week again, it's just on my phone, I was talking with Mike about this, is you don't need to gain money the same way you lose it. So for example, you know, if you're betting on something, if you're gambling and you're losing money there, you don't need to make the money gambling again. You can make the money by doing something else. So, okay, you lost money by pointing it out, but you can make money by maybe switching around some of your PPC or launching new products that sell well. So you don't need to, when you lose money on Amazon, you don't need to freak out. You can make money very easily in another way.
That's a good point. I mean, of course, Amazon or any business, don't get stuck on don't get stuck on how you lost it. And we even talked about that a couple weeks ago with the trade war discussions. Just focus on what you can control and do the best you can at the moment you're in. Another thing, just to come back on the packaging, we did buy some of these like coffee bag looking products for $1 each. So it stands up on its own. It's like got a circular base. So what the idea is, we're going to put that in the product photo with our logo on it, so that it will like another way to stand out on the product image. But you know, we are also reordering the Moka Pot. So I went there. We're going to put I did a vlog, a video with the production. They thought I was crazy. I'm carrying this huge camera, like selfie style, through the factory, and there's like factory workers like kind of like waving at the camera, and then the factory girl is like, "Are you gonna show your customers this?" I'm like, "Yeah."
I would have thought that you would have shown it to other suppliers.
True. They didn't seem to care.
I've had a lot of factories a little bit paranoid about me taking the tech and going to other suppliers.
But I do feel pretty confident. Last week we were with Eno going to these factories, but I'm coming back from the trip, and they moved to another factory. This Moka Pot has been a nightmare. Remember, we had to send back some. Now we had the handles broken. Now the factory moved. The sales rep changed. But I did a full video. People can watch it. We'll embed the YouTube video on the show notes. Hopefully, it'll be ready by the show. But once we get the supply side on, and well, of course you're working on both sides. You're a hustler. You're like trying to make $1 out of 15 cents as an Amazon seller, or as a business owner trying to buy, keep your supply chain good. But I do feel really, really confident now about the supply chain. Going up there, I met the factory. They remembered Lorenzo. They're like, "Oh, you're the guy with Lorenzo, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, yeah, we remember Lorenzo." Like,
I'll never forget him.
Yeah, I can't. And so,
that was still the best podcast title I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, you like that?
The EU Catastrophe.
That was a nightmare. We refunded luckily we didn't have to pay for them. They gave the money back. But that was actually a different factory than this one. But Yeah, this has been definitely a learning experience for everybody involved. But how are you feeling about with Christmas, Zach? I know it's not even in July. What is it? It's like mid-June. So we got some new listings. How do you think we are looking for Christmas sales?
Well, when would that listing go live on Amazon? When would it have
So
stock?
stock is sitting in Ewu warehouse, already
Okay,
paid
and
for.
when
It's in the white
will
box,
it-
so I'm gonna try to get some stickers. I took some notes from what you said. We're gonna put the special bag that basically will probably ship in a couple weeks, probably by sea. So probably like a month from now, maybe a little more, maybe 5 weeks
So
from now.
End
So
of
like
July. Early
probably
August
like
or
mid to
something?
late, maybe late July.
Yeah, that's plenty of time to sell through and
But it's only like this one. I'm nervous. It's like 24 to 48 pieces of these
yeah,
things.
exactly. So you'll be able to, whichever one kind of does the best, just immediately place a reorder,
Yeah.
and you want to send it in basically by late October,
Yeah.
early November. You want to be in there for holiday season,
So-
because at some point every year, and I always forget when it is, they just stop accepting
Yeah, they do.
stock for the holiday season.
So we're ordering a couple thousand more Moka Pots. I already placed. I asked them for a quote, but so the other reason the handles broke, we another feedback for listeners. We thought we would differentiate by having a bunch of extra crap in the package. We had the milk frother, we had like a clip spoon, we had the latte art But there was some feedbacks like, oh, the Moka Pot was awesome, and there was also this bunch of other stuff that came in the box. But that other stuff cost like $5, $6, $7, So we cut that all out. But then the box was too big, so we didn't. Anyways, I'm not gonna. Of course, there's a lot to learn, but we should have shrunken the box more and packaged it more tightly. And I think that's what had the handle issue.
This is why I like to have plastic trays that fit the items exactly, and you can just swap out the plastic trays. So you could have one just for the Moka Pot that fits in the box, and one that fits the Moka Pot and everything else. We're doing this for our vaporizer kits.
Okay, great.
Is that we have one with the charging case and one without, and we just have a different insert tray for each one.
Okay.
And so that way they don't move around at all. They're very stable. But I think you brought up a really good point, which is a lot of us guess what the customer wants, and we might put a lot of time and effort into things that don't matter in the end. Maybe people really just want a Moka Pot and they're kind of want some extra stuff, but if we're paying $6-7 for that,
And they don't even notice or care.
then we could do the best kind of marketing there is, which is just reduce the price.
Yeah, we did.
And if we, this is what Walmart always tried to do, and all the discounters just take the marketing budget and put it into reducing the price. So it's something you got to test. You can do this with variations. You can do this with things like MTurk testing, where you just figure out what do people actually care about. So for example, I just did this last week. I went into 10 or so different Facebook groups for vapors, and I said, hey, would you guys rather have a charging case, or would you rather have extra pods? More than 80% said they want extra pods.
Well,
So why are we spending so much money on this charge case? So know your customer. Ask your customer directly, would you rather have this, or this? Always give them at least 3 options, because every choice is really between at least 3 options. This, or this, or this. And if you give them that, you'll figure out a lot more quickly what do people really want, and do you need to make these accessories, these ebooks, whatever else. Because if you just ask people, would you like this? They're all going to say yes. But if you say, which one do you want more, they have to think more critically.
Makes sense. Another thing, we added a 9-cup Moka Pot in addition to the 6-cup. The factory wanted one with 1,000 MOQ for each size, but somehow, after sitting there and talking about broken handles for an hour, when I brought it up again,
Just an hour? That's it?
Well, no, that was the first hour. I was there about 3 hours. It was a full morning until we didn't have lunch with them, but almost deep into lunchtime. And then I was like, are you sure there's nothing you can do about a less than 1,000 MOQ for the 9 cup? And then she said she could do an overrun. When they get an order for 9 cup, they could run an extra 500 for us. So that, and they seem like they get it pretty often, so we're gonna do that.
Okay.
And then we talked about this, but it's when Mark on the team said make it a variation, not a new listing, because I'm studying this variations versus new listings. Do you have a rule of thumb that you follow?
I don't really have a rule of thumb for anything. People think I use a lot of processes, but I've kind of done this stuff enough to have more intuition. But in general, when you're doing a product that's very similar, and you can use the reviews from one thing, and you need to check the policy to make sure it's not an unapproved type of variation that's going to screw you up. But if it's things like maybe a size or maybe a color variation, it can work out.
Okay.
And so you would do that until your other listing has enough reviews to stand on its own, and then you can split them. Because if you split them, then they can show up differently in the search results, and so you can have more spots on the first page, which is, at least for the Chinese sellers, most of them, their end goal is just
Dominate
they even use the
page.
same supply chain. I know a lot of guys that do phone cables, but they'll do like 10 different brands of phone cables, and they'll try and rank all of them on the same page. Because Amazon is just a real estate game. If you own 10 spaces on the first page, it's a lot better than having one thing on the first page.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Zach's checking where we're at on this bus. I think we got some more time.
Passing a toll booth.
And but I'm feeling. I mean, we did really good in Christmas. We made it through without running out of stock, but we did end up running out of stock in January, which then caused us to rush and then airship, and then maybe is what broke the handles. But I feel pretty confident about this. The factory looks like they're on board to support us. We're gonna fix the packaging issue. We're gonna add a new variation. We're gonna add a few new listings. How are you feeling, Zach? I mean, you also looked at our PPC. I guess that needs some work. But how are you feeling as a spectator?
So I think it's really rare and really a great thing about the level of transparency and honesty that you bring to this podcast to show what it's really like, because no one is really going to talk about the problems in their business, especially on a podcast, and it's something I wish more people did. So people can get into things with kind of an expectation. No one that sees a course while someone drinking a Mai Tai on a beach thinks, oh, I'm going to have to go to EU about broken handles on this product, or what if I had to pull everything out and put it back in, or how do I even negotiate with this level of MOQ? So these are actually really relatable challenges to a lot of people that are actually in this business, and that's what makes this really great to hear and refreshing, because this level of honesty is something that's completely lacking in this entire Amazon business, from almost every sort of online channel you could listen to. And I think you're showing the other thing, which is you have to show up and keep fighting.
Yeah, I mean,
because
it's
that's
been a roller
how you
coaster
get there.
for sure, man.
Every day you just kind of got to show up, and eventually it works out. And that's the pattern of success I see for everyone that I do know. So looking into your account, looking at some stuff, the only thing I could recommend is one thing I like to do to keep myself organized while I work is I kind of write a list of all the potential areas of operation, and then what usually needs to be done, and I call this a trigger list, right? If you're familiar with David Allen's Getting Things Done, it's basically taken from that but customized to the type of business I'm doing. So then I go through that every day and I come up with exactly what would need to potentially be done.
Okay.
So what I see on some of your stuff, I don't want to be too harsh,
Go
is
ahead.
for example, a listing change that could have been made a long time ago was put off because maybe it was good enough. But if you have a list of these things that you need to continuously improve and you keep analyzing them, you will say, maybe this isn't the best we can do, maybe we can improve this. And so having some of the stuff broken down into checklists, things you're going to think about, and then making sure that you schedule some time every couple weeks or every month to look over things that you thought were already done or thought were taken care of or thought were someone else's responsibility, because those kinds of things can really trip you up. What happens in a lot of businesses I see is when people think, this is someone else is going to do it, and that other person thinks someone else is going to do it, and then it never gets done. And figuring out these kind of gaps in responsibility and figuring out how to continuously improve things, not get complacent, is a really important part of an Amazon business and any online business.
I agree. And I mean, yeah, we've been chatting over dinner and everything, and I'm much more active in this business than I had anticipated, to say the least. And it's, like you said, I'm putting myself out there, and I've gotten some comments that some people say it's so green, or showing some holes in the way I operate or lead a team or whatever. It's been a roller coaster, but I really feel confident about realigning, and I'm taking ownership of this process. But one of the listings Zach's talking about is like the portable French press, which is kind of true. It kind of has been sitting there. I didn't really look at the listing. It's only got like a 2% conversion rate.
3%. Don't sell yourself short.
I rounded down. Yeah, so rounding up, it's probably closer to 3 than 2. But he was giving me some tips on title optimization and the image optimization. But I've been really deeply focused on a Moka Pot because that is our money maker. I mean, we added some other. And is that another thing? Is that like, should we just double down on Moka Pot? Get the 9 cup, get the 3 cup? Why am I getting these other 5 listings that are kind of like, I'm kind of shooting in the dark, honestly.
You already bought the product. It's sitting there. And I think if you tweak it a little bit, you can get that 3 to a 6 to a 10, maybe more. I think it's just not targeted correctly, and a little bit of writing can make it more exciting.
Okay. Yeah, so I think also to summarize what you mean is just always be optimizing, always be reviewing your numbers, looking at the conversion rates, looking at your PPCA costs and your cost per, how much you're spending, and what kind of keywords you can segment out to be more focused on, and adjusting your bids. But I think whether it's Amazon or it's any business, it's really optimizing your numbers and reviewing, right?
Yeah, I mean, just look at things as they are and realize, just write it down, have a list of things someday to improve, and then figure out if these are actionable things that are easy to do, and then just do them.
Sure. Well, this has been fascinating, Zach. So how can people, I think we're kind of wrapped up unless you want to add something, but of course, a little bit to plug. You're doing quite a bit lately. I mean, you got a pretty awesome Shenzhen meetup you're doing with a big seller, and you're going to speak in Iwu in a few days, and then you're going to Barcelona for Affiliate World. You got a lot of stuff going on, man.
Yeah, I have that. I have a super secret project in the works.
Okay, super secret.
I have 2 interesting projects related to vaping, nicotine, CBD, and I have a couple other secret web dev projects, and some good stuff's happening.
Nice.
So I'm putting in the work, and it's showing.
Yeah, that's it, man. I mean, I think everybody in the community is always impressed with your ability to execute and get things done. So it's panda-leap.com, right?
Yeah, it's very important to remember the dash, panda-leap.com. So you can do that, or if you just want to ask me a question about anything kind of Amazon, if you have some kind of service that can help my vape business or CBD or something, or if you just want to chat, the best way to reach me is probably email Zack, Z-A-C-K, at amzkungfu.com.
Awesome. Yeah, and definitely shoot him a thank you note for sharing, as always, not holding back on his amazing experiences within the trenches of the Amazon the Amazon arena, the
I think it's
gladiator.
getting more and more like a war, but that's for maybe another
Another
episode.
episode. I do feel like I've had some competitors leaving me negative reviews. It's somewhat hard to determine, but yeah, it seems a little dirty. Seems a little bit dirty. But I
For
think we're
another
getting
time.
another time. We're getting close to the border, and they're gonna start screaming in Cantonese and Mandarin to get off the bus
That'd be a good way
immediately.
to end the episode.
Yeah, maybe I'll try to record that. But I got all this gear I gotta clean up too. But thanks again, Zach, for sharing.
All right.
Are you getting ready for the Canton Fair and trade show season this fall? Then join us at the Cross Border Summit, our 4th annual conference 2-day event, October 22nd and 23rd, 2019, in Guangzhou, China. We're going to have, of course, amazing speakers as always, great networking opportunities, deal making. It's going to be multiple full days, as well as even additional workshops and masterminds if you're really craving for more. I would love to see you there. It's a critical part of our podcast and our business here, and we put a lot of effort into it to make it as valuable for you as possible. So if you're coming all the way over here for the trade shows, definitely invest in attending this event. www.crossbordersummit.com/China. So, thank you, Zach. I hope the quality of the interview was good. He's like, Mike, can't we just do this online? Of course, I could have done like a online recording with some of our various softwares for recording these podcasts online, but I don't know. I feel like some of the listeners have told me that you like it when I'm on the road, on the go. And this is really what I believe Global from Asia is about. I mean, man, it's getting harder now. I don't want to get political, but you can't even pass through Admiralty, MTR. You know, there's this trade war happening. There's just a lot of changes happening in the world, and we're always on the go. And I'm on the go. I mean, I did a few of these shows in cars and buses because I want to give you access to the insights as much as I get them. I think that's why this show is a little bit maybe different than others. You know, we're here in Asia. I mean, technically now I'm in Thailand, but I'm probably going to be going into China more and more often. It just seems like it's something I need to do, whether it's with the product development, our events, our other things we're doing. And I want to extend those experiences and knowledge and people to you around the world. And I don't know what's going to be the future, to be honest, of everything. Everything is changing. I will say that for sure. I mean, like I just was mentioning with these protests in Hong Kong, with these trade wars happening and immigration policies getting stricter everywhere. I mean, it's struggling for me in Thailand. You know, it's really challenging, the whole idea of Global from Asia. I mean, we were all about running your business online from anywhere with, like, you know, originally we started with a Hong Kong business, you know, structure in many of our earlier shows. And now we're really under a challenge, but I'm trying to make it opportunity. You know, I think with every threat or every, you know, I think what's that, the SWOT analysis, with every challenge, it creates new opportunity. So I think if you are keeping an open mind, keeping your ears open, listening to shows like Global from Asia, learning as much as you can, I think there's going to be huge opportunities. I mean, I think there's going to be huge shakeups with massive companies within this international shakeup, and I think that's going to be a future for people like us, the ones that can run online, the ones that can run anywhere, where location doesn't matter, because locations are getting shaken up right now. Like, shaken up. I mean, if you have a fixed office somewhere with staff, it's going to be much harder to move. But for us, at least me, we got an amazing online team, and we can work anywhere. I mean, as long as there's internet, which is even that seems like a challenge sometimes. But as long as you can get an decent internet connection which can access, let's say, online tools, then you can work anywhere. And that's what we're doing with Sistano and technically Par Living Inc. We're I believe that's what a lot of you are too. You know, you're online-based business owners traveling, hustling, making the best of what you can. And I am strongly recommending, I don't want to set up offices and especially with these changing times. I mean, I'm so happy. I used to have an office of 10, 11 people in Shenzhen. And that was a lot of cost, not just cost, but also just inflexibility. You know, you don't know what's going to happen. And then you have your team, and then they're used to working in your office, and they're in the matrix, and you got to keep dealing with that. But when they're online and flexible, I mean, it makes you more flexible as a business owner. And I'm definitely going to keep investing and running online teams, scaling online teams. I really am. It's a lot of work. I mean, you got to change your mindset. You got to have really good operating systems, really good procedures in place. I mean, working online is a little bit more effort for management, but the rewards are amazing. And that's what we're doing here with Sisatano. Also, of course, Goal from Asia and our media and our events. We're running online teams. I just really am nervous about the future of business and cross-border. I mean, international business. It seems like governments want us to stay in our home country and have offices and have everybody sitting in the same office and filing your taxes and following those local laws and doing in that currency. But that's totally against what we're doing here at Global from Asia. We're doing the opposite. We're about cross-border. We're about doing international business, working with cultures all around the world. Whatever the background, I mean, if people have ability, I don't want to be limited to working with people in a specific location. And it seems like governments are forcing us to do that. I got a scary letter from HSBC and its own company, Shadstone, in Hong Kong, and they're trying to KYC and probably. I've been hearing more and more banks getting shut down. Anyway, I'm kind of ranting. It's not really relevant to what we did at today's talk with Zach, but I'm really excited about Sisatano, to be honest. I mean, Lorenzo's working on developing some ClickFunnels, some funnels. There's a new channel of revenue. We're fixing this QC nightmare. I'm taking more active role, and Mark's still helping out with the Amazon management and our ads. So we're just pushing forward. You can't let things get in your way. And while this venture, I wasn't planning to be as active, I am getting more active the last couple of months because I want to make this a massive success, and it should be. I mean, a lot of listeners have helped out with some input and suggestions, and we're going to use this to grow everybody's business. I want this to help everyone. Like Zach says, we're being so transparent. It is almost scary. And, a lot of seller friends say we're totally crazy to be this open. And, I honestly somewhat agree with that. But we are trying our best to be as transparent as possible. And we're dealing with these quality problems, and we're dealing with these even some negative reviews, probably because of quality, but also somewhat probably because of competitors bending the rules or breaking the rules. But you got to just keep on going forward. I was talking to Mayor when I was in Shenzhen, another partner at Par Living, and I was telling him about, I think, is some negative reviews from competitors, and he's like, welcome to the game. This is the game. And that is business. You got to try to keep a positive outlook, stay mentally strong, physically strong. I'm really getting more sleep. I used to try to work late, and I took Gary Vee's advice back in the day of not sleeping too much, but I think that was the worst decision I ever made. I was not feeling well. I wasn't thinking clearly. I think you need your sleep. Now I'm getting 8 hours as much as I can, sometimes 7, but aiming for 8 daily. I measure it. So you just got to stay healthy and sharp. It's the quality of your work. It's the quality of your product, the quality of your output, rather than the quantity. I think that's going to be more and more true. I also did an interview with Lucy from Shenzhen. Will be on a Chinese channel. I'll see if I can link to it when she publishes it also this coming week. But I was telling her, she says a lot of Chinese sellers are having trouble on Amazon now. It's getting more difficult. I like difficult. I think that's why I'm getting more excited about it, because it's not as easy, and I like challenges. I like also differentiate based on quality and your effort of your work. So I do believe, of course, I've plugged some ads in our show, but Content Investments is one of our service businesses. because I believe you have to make quality content, and that's branding, not just putting a decent photo and some very minimal text and expecting to get results now. I think you're gonna have to stand out. You have to build a true brand. You're gonna have to have relationships between these products, not just take any random product you can get a good price for and think you can sell. I think you have to do related products. And I'm trying to add new listings. There is a new project, like I mentioned the first while I was taking this break from Glow from Asia, we were working on some secret project, which is hopefully going to be ready in a month or two. And we're going to use this Isitano's listings and assets to build it out even more. I can't say too much more, but I'll leave that hint towards the end of this blah, blah, blah session. I hope this has inspired you. It's really about taking action. I've also learned so much getting back involved in Amazon. If you're just talking about it or just studying it or listening to it, you're not going to get as much as actually doing it. You got to get your hands dirty, whether it's e-commerce, whether it's any kind of business or anything in life. You can't just study and do keyword research forever. You actually have to get out there and be willing to make mistakes and learn and adjust and stay positive. And it's a long-term war. It's not a battle. I mean, you have battles, but you got to survive the war, or a marathon. It's not just a sprint. You've got to survive the ups and the downs of business, whether it's entrepreneurship or any venture, anything you're trying to do. To really stand out, you got to get through the hard times, because when most people will give up when it gets too hard. And if you can stick through, you can succeed. And that's what we're going to do with Isitano with this case. And we're building things back up. And I look forward to making a positive ROI for this investment and the partners and everyone and you. And I want you to take action. I want to hear some more case studies. And I'll wrap it up. But we also have a picture of Zack and me on the bus in the show notes. globalfromasia.com/episode 258. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
To get more info about running an international business, please visit our website at www.globalfromasia.com. That's www.globalfromasia.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our iTunes feed. Thanks for tuning in.